Hello, and welcome, beautiful badass. Thank you so much for being here for episode number 25 of the Magic is in You podcast. The podcast designed, created to empower you to tune in, tap in, and turn on the magic that is already within inside of you so that you can show up like the powerful, confident badass that you know you are and create the impact that you desire in your life, in the lives of your loved ones, and the community around you, in your business, because it's not just about you, right? It's this butterfly effect. When we elevate ourselves, when we allow ourselves to tap into our knowing, our magic, our light, when we bring that authenticity to the world, that impacts everybody around us. My name is Kelsey Holmes, and I am so grateful you are here today. Thank you so much for listening. If this is your very first episode, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Welcome to this adventure. And if this is your 25th episode of the Magic is in You podcast, oh my gosh, thank you so freaking much for being here. Like, from the bottom of my heart, truly, I am just so grateful for you being here. I, this week, looked at my podcast analytics for the very first time. I started this podcast back in August, officially launched the podcast August 20th, my late grandmother's birthday, to really dedicate this podcast to her and all the women who have come before us who didn't have opportunities like we have today, where we can be fucking badass business owners, creating change in the world, allowing ourselves to put ourselves out there authentically, truly, fully, and be able to create massive impact in the world, massive income in our lives, massive elevation, not just for ourselves, but for, like I said, everybody around us. And I started this podcast with a desire to create this impact. And when I launched, I actually originally started it on YouTube only because I had a YouTube channel and I kind of knew how to do the back end on YouTube, the tech stuff, because the tech stuff always intimidates me, and I wasn't at the point where I was hiring a VA yet, and I just wanted to figure it out on my own. Are you like that? Are you maybe a little controlling too? I kind of want to know the nitty gritty before I pass it off to somebody else anyway. So anyway, I started on YouTube, officially launched on August 20th. And so it's been, 7 months now that the Magic in You podcast has been live, flowing, growing. I've had, I think, 10 interviews with the most powerful, badass women. Oh my goodness gracious. I have had so much fun getting to know these powerful, badass women and how they tap into their magic and how that magic of theirs impacts everybody around them, because it's this ripple. Like I said, you stepping into your badassery, owning your magic, it's not just about you, it's about everybody that it affects. And so hearing these women share how them stepping into their authentic light, into their authentic magic, and actually doing what their heart has called them to do, I truly believe that we are all here for a purpose, on purpose. And it's part of the adventure of life that we get to discover that purpose and evolve that purpose and enjoy the journey of this creation that we get to call our life at the end of the day, right? At the end of it all, what have we created for our life? Has it been experiences, connection, love, bliss, abundance? What do you want at the end of your life? Because it really starts with you tapping into that magic of yours so that you can live your life full out, because we have the opportunity, and we get to live full out because we have the opportunity. Like I said at the beginning, not everybody, even now, we're not going to get into that, but not everybody has the opportunity. But if you are listening to this podcast, you have access to getting to know yourself, to grow yourself at the mind, body, spiritual, energetic level. This is the magic right here. Even if you're not where you want to be, that's where I was when I started this journey. When I started to really like dive in and like decide that I wanted to grow myself, I was not at all like this. Like I was a hot fucking mess. I finally had a career. I had these things that I thought should make me happy, but I was fucking miserable inside. I had so much self-loathing, so much self-hatred, and was just shitting on myself all the time. Shame, guilt, all the things that were just like completely rendering me in this just perpetual cycle of partying way too much, feeling ashamed for partying, and then like this perpetual cycle of that as a massage therapist, and this just like all sorts of inner turmoil. And during this cycle, I really didn't even like know where to start when I knew I needed help. So I got myself into therapy. I had never heard of podcasts before. I wasn't really like looking on YouTube for self-help things. I just like didn't even know where to start. So I started literally with getting myself into therapy so that I could understand, learn how to feel my feels. I got into an incredible therapist who specialized in inner family systems, I believe is what it's called. Anyway, parts work. And I then also, in combo with that, started practicing yoga regularly. I had always had this call to like try yoga, or like I had always kind of deeply desired to be a yogi, or to be that like really grounded girl that I saw walking like into the yoga room, right? Into the yoga studio. So I actually got myself in a studio, because before that I had been doing gym yoga, which felt good, but it didn't like it felt good in my body, but it didn't feel good like walking into a stinky gym to go to yoga. And so one switch that I did in addition to therapy was actually getting myself around more of the community that that I saw my future self as, or that I desired myself to be. I started taking action in that direction, right? And that's the first part of like really being able to tap into our magic, is us understanding where we want to go. Because if we don't have a clear picture of where we want to grow, then we just kind of end up, I guess, flowing through life, and it just kind of takes you as it will. And all of a sudden that's when time starts flying by, and it's been years and you're looking back and you're like, what the fuck? I feel like I had a midlife, I like to call it early life crisis, like when I was like 22 or 23, when I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I finally was like, I'm going to figure this out. And I found massage. And then after I found the thing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to fix everything. Realized I just didn't like myself. That was where I had this this kind of like confrontation with myself, confronting myself, I guess, on this desire to actually decide what I wanted my life to be like. Not just my job, but like how I wanted to feel in my everyday, how I wanted to feel in myself, in my body, how I wanted to feel in my relationships, how I wanted to feel in my home, and really started focusing in on that and becoming really intentional about that, because I didn't want to live life and all of a sudden, I heard stories so often, all of a sudden looking back 20 years, I was at the same like booth that I had a panic attack in a decade and a half ago, with all of like doing the same thing, having the same conversations, and feeling like, what have I done? I didn't want to hit that point. So that's when I really started to become intentional. And like over time, I learned different tools, techniques of how I could become even more intentional with what I am creating in my life. And how at the root of all of this intentionality was the connection with myself. So think about it this way. If your self-connection is a little rocky, a little shaky, it's a little bit harder to actually like plan and design what you want and like take action on what you want. Think about it this way in this little analogy. So if you don't know, I have been around a bit of construction. My husband and I create beautiful metal art and metal and wood furniture together. We also have like fixed our first home up and flipped it, and then we renovated a 2-car garage into a stunning Airbnb / showroom for our metal artwork and furniture temperature. And so I've been around some construction. And in construction, if you were to do a new build, which I haven't been around a full new build, but a new build, you start with the foundation before you work on building all of the other things. And for that in our life, we are the foundation for the rest of our life. Because when we can be solid in our foundation, for example, when you're building a foundation, when you're pouring a foundation, there's a number of steps that you have to do. You have to dig out the hole. You have to support the hole with board forms or some sort of forms. And then you have to bring in the concrete and pour the concrete. And then the concrete takes a certain amount of time to cure and it has to be at this certain temperature. There's all of these steps to be able to get a solid foundation, one that's not going to crack under the weight of the house. Just like we can take steps intentionally to tap into our magic, to tap into our inner empowerment, to tap into our strength so that we can actually create and build and execute's not a great word, flow with, that's a much better word, so that we can flow with and grow a life that lights us the fuck up, that creates the impact that we desire, that creates the income that we desire, that allows us time to actually spend time with family and friends, that allows us opportunity to travel, that allows us opportunity to build your fucking dream property, to build your dream garden, that allows you to live the life that you really want while creating the impact that you truly desire. Because again, when we start here, when we start at our foundation, that's what allows us to grow everything. And so about a decade ago, when this big transition of mine hit, when I realized that I really got to take better care of myself, it started with my mind and my body. And that work is really the foundation of the work that I do with my clients now, and that I'm so grateful to be able to do, because it's helped me completely transform the way I think and feel about myself, which has completely transformed the way I show up in this world, which has completely transformed everything in my life. Obviously my relationship with myself, but also the relationship that I have with my family, the relationship that I have with my husband, the beautiful home that we have, our wonderful sweet puppers, the businesses that we have. I get to help so many fucking women, and this podcast, and all of this has been built on one decision at a time to grow myself a little bit more, to know myself a little bit deeper, to understand myself a little bit more, to become aware of what I actually want, to be honest with myself, to trust myself, love myself, grow myself, and not just doing those things, but falling in love with the process of knowing myself and becoming devoted to taking care of myself every single day. As a massage therapist in school, they always harped is probably an accurate word. They harped on us about how important self-care is as a massage therapist, but I think it's something that's totally underrated for the rest of the world. I think self-care, the more that we can care for ourselves, especially as women, the better that we can show up in the world. And when we show up better, everybody else is lifted up, right? It's kind of the idea of the seas rising. So when the tides rise, all the ships rise, right? When we elevate our baseline, everything changes. When I elevate my mindset, my relationship with my husband is so much better. And do you know why that's important? Not only is it lovely for our actual relationship, I love him, he loves me, we get along, we have so much fun together. I'm so grateful to be married to my best friend. But Nate and I also own and operate 2 businesses together, one of which is also with my folks. So there's a lot of fun family dynamics within the business. And so being able to feel good in myself and come from a grounded place in relationship dynamics is super important, especially when you add business in there, because, if you've heard the terms that a business is one of the best personal growth journeys you can ever go on, I would also agree a business is one of the best couples journeys, growth journeys that you could ever grow in with. Because Nate and I started Creative Combinations Montana 5 years ago. Oh my gosh, before I was officially a coach, before I was even finished with rapid transformational therapy training and becoming a hypnotherapist. Before that, we had a plan to start Creative Combinations Montana. And over the last 5 years, we have grown a ton. Our communication has gotten so much better. Our relationship has gotten so much fucking stronger. We could have absolutely let it break us. We have gone through some fucking challenging projects. We have built some amazing, incredible, huge projects together, including like 6-bed bunk rooms, like huge railing projects. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, my point is, Nate doesn't do any of this work. He does now, I suppose, but it was a while before he started to like really be curious or interested in the mindset stuff and in the elevation of our thoughts and being intentional with how we're speaking to not only ourselves, but to our partners. But that work that I started, I wasn't pushing it on him because I knew that that was going to meet resistance. Have you ever had somebody be like, oh my God, you should do this, like shitting all over you? It doesn't work, right? Especially if it's coming from your partner or a loved one. It tends to backfire. I know this well enough. So I just did the work myself, not for Nate. I mean, I had always kind of secretly hoped he would get into it, and he has, and it's really fun to talk about it now with him. But I did it for myself first, just like we do this elevation of ourself first so that we can create the impact out there. And bringing it back to the podcast, I mentioned at the beginning that I looked at my metrics analytics for podcast downloads for the very first time this week. And I did that kind of intentionally. I decided at the beginning I wasn't going to look for a while because I didn't want to get in my head about it, right? You can do all this mindset work, you can do all the thought work, you can be super intentional with your energy, and you can still get in your head about things. So instead of looking at analytics, I chose to just show the fuck up. Start gaining consistency, get comfortable and confident in what I'm sharing and what I'm doing and what I'm growing. Start with interviews and just like get fucking going, get the momentum going in me, and just become devoted to the practice of showing up and sharing authentically, open-heartedly, unscripted. You will never see a script in my hand ever. And just really sharing my heart and having a desire to empower other women to share their hearts, because it's not just me, it's all of us collectively. When we are all collectively choosing intentionally to elevate each other and to elevate ourselves and each other, it's not I'm better than you or that person's better than me. It's we are all equal. We all have so much light, so much magic to give to this world, and we all get to rise up together. And when we can do this for ourselves, it empowers and inspires others around us to do the same. So this work about you elevating yourself through understanding your thoughts, through getting to know yourself, grow yourself, trust yourself deeply, love yourself, in feeling safe in your body, feeling safe in your being, allowing yourself to release the shame and guilt and shit that's no longer serving you. Allow yourself to release the grip of fear that's holding you stagnant so that you can take aligned action, feeling safe enough. Not to say that it's not going to be scary as fuck. Don't get me wrong. I'm like terrified half the time when I'm putting myself out there, when I'm working with new clients. Like, I get so nervous every time I get on the first call with a new client, and I'm over here with my tuning fork. I'm over here like just grounding and breathing, allowing myself to align my frequency. That's even my like little ritual before I hit record on the podcast, is with the tuning fork and just allowing myself to come into my 30-second grounding meditations, a meditation that I've done for years now, and just allow myself to align here in this moment, ground here into this moment, so that my energy is here present now, not this like overly anxious, excited energy, because excitement and anxiety are practically the same feeling, right? Anxiety is excitement without the breath. So when I allow myself to ground back into it, I get into this excited state, this present state, and it allows me to just like be so present with my clients. And that's where the magic is, really, is when we can be present here now, allowing ourselves to feel safe, allowing ourselves to feel seen, allowing ourselves to feel heard, allowing ourselves to feel loved. And even if that's just by ourselves, with ourselves, because I know for me, most of my life, that shit was scary as fuck. I did not want anything to do with being seen, heard, listened to, felt by myself, with myself. Like, that was not the jam. It was avoid, numb out, hide, run away kind of jam. And so being to this point, oh gosh, yeah, being to this point means like fucking everything. I'm so grateful because it's been a journey, it's been a challenge, it's been an opportunity, it's been a fucking adventure. And if you know what an adventure is, it's this journey, often hazardous, into the unknown. And that's really what this growth experience is for ourselves. It's an adventure that we get to go on, that we get to grow on, that we get to explore on. And I'm so grateful. Oh, I wanted to share the podcast metrics. I'm so grateful because I looked at the podcast metrics this week and I almost cried. I got the hugest grin on my face. I had been so worried at the beginning that I was going to get in my head about who was or wasn't listening. Either way, I was worried I was going to get in my head about it. And I peeked the podcast metrics and I recognized that the Magic in You podcast has had over 14,000 downloads in the last 7 months. And I'm just absolutely blown away and so grateful. And I hope that it is inspiring you to take action, to allow yourself to tune and tap and turn on your magic, your light, your fucking badassery. Allow yourself to lift yourself up, not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. And I hope that the interviews have been really fucking empowering because these women, all of the women who have been on the Magic is in You podcast, have shared so openly, so vulnerably, so open-heartedly about the challenges that they've had to go through, those opportunities, right? The adventurous side of our self-growth, our evolution. And watching them and hearing how they share on the other side what that challenge has created is just absolutely beautiful. I have a little analogy. So right now, Nate and I have built our very first garden on our property. This will be our 4th summer here, and we have been in renovation, so we haven't really had a garden the last few years, so we're so fucking excited. Anyway, we planted starts a couple of weeks ago, and we planted cucumbers and sunflowers and basil and mint and tomatoes. What else did we plant? Spinach, a few other things in starts, and we have a little grow light, and we've got a little spritzer, and it had a little dome on it until the things got too tall for the dome. So we were growing these starts, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh yes, we need wind. That's right. We need to blow the plants with a little bit of wind so that they can build strength for when we repot them outside where they will undergo wind. And I put this tiny little, it's like a little desk fan, 3 inches big. It's a teeny tiny little thing, but I put it on our little light and I turned it on and I let it rip on these little baby starts that had zero wind. And they were about a week and a half or so old. And I came back an hour later and all of the starts, every single one, and there had to have been 40 of them, were laying completely sideways, looking half dead. And I chuckled because I know this about starts. I know that they need wind right after they're sprouted practically. I know that there's been studies done on growing trees in the most perfect environment, climate, soil, all the nutrients, everything in a greenhouse. So it's a completely controlled atmosphere, the most perfect, ideal atmosphere. And these trees were growing and growing and growing and looking epic and beautiful. And all of a sudden one day they literally just started to fall over. And it was because the trees had not built the strength that they needed to stand tall from the wind, from the resistance of the wind. And so when challenges arise in our life, we get to think about it like we're growing in the wind in the garden, for example. That wind, that resistance, that challenge is actually making us stronger to be able to continue to grow, to be able to continue to live this life and adventure in this life and be sound and grounded in ourselves, in our inner empowerment, in our magic. So when challenges come up, when you are growing, when you are doing scary things, when you're putting yourself out there, when you decide today's the day I'm going to start. Maybe it's a podcast. Like I have mentioned before, this podcast took me like almost 2 years to actually hit record. Anyway, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a business, maybe it's a side hustle, maybe it's a new project in your business, maybe it's a new course that you want to launch, maybe it's a new relationship that you want to embark on, maybe it's a new home that you want to embark on, or you want to quit everything and move across the world. Whatever it is, remember, as challenges come up, this is just building strength to make it to where when you have the thing that you truly want, you are strong enough to hold it. You are strong enough to be there. You are strong enough to cultivate it, grow it, expand on it, and enjoy it while you are there. So, moral of the story, enjoy the journey. Because at the end of the day, that's what this life is. It is the grand adventure journey of life every single day. This is life here now. You listening to me sitting here talking to you with like, so much gratitude, the biggest smile on my face as I'm watching the trees outside of my window dance in the wind, overlooking our soon to be epic, abundant, beautiful garden, halfway built, ready for its first season of planting. Like, just so grateful. We get to be intentional about growing ourselves, about knowing ourselves, about doing the work, because this work is something that we have the opportunity to do, to know ourselves, to grow ourselves, to expand ourselves, to live intentionally. We have the opportunity here and now to take care of our body. We have the opportunity here and now to be kind to ourselves in our mind. We have the opportunity here and now to rewire our subconscious mind, to empower ourselves, to truly believe in ourselves. We have the opportunity here and now to elevate our frequency and align our energy with where we desire to grow. And if you want to tap in to more opportunity, I'm super freaking excited because I'm hosting Elevating Frequency Masterclass on May 12th, Monday, May 12th. So all sorts of M's in there. Monday, May 12th, the Elevated Frequency Masterclass is going to be a masterclass designed to somatically, subconsciously, and energetically elevate your frequency, your literal vibration. We are all made of matter and energy. And so when we are tapping in somatically into our body, subconsciously and energetically, to elevate our frequency, our energy within inside of us, that is how we become a match to what we desire to create. That's how we take aligned action in the desire or in the direction of where we want to grow. That's how we feel fucking good in this journey of the challenges, in the wobble, in the wind. When we elevate our frequency, everything else elevates around us. When we tap into our magic, everything else elevates around us. So this practice is going to be an embodiment practice where we are, like I said, going to be diving in body, mind, and energy to leave you feeling filled up and empowered in your frequency, elevating your vibration. So that you can truly embody the badass that you know you are. So come, it's free. It'll be so much fun. It'll be live on Zoom, and the show or details are in the show notes. So sign up, and I can't wait to see you there. And if you can't make it live, go ahead and sign up and I will send you the replay. And if you are listening to this far off in the future, sign up with that link to come to the next event or masterclass. Get on the email list. That's where all of the goods are. And in love, light, and so much gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.